see, I know there's a couple of people, one's dropped off. And if we get cut off at all, my internet seems to be doing just great right now, but if we get cut off, just hang in there and I will come back on. It'll be a new live. And that, so let's see. Okay, Suzanne, can you hear me at all? I see a heart going up there. Because there's nothing like talking away and nobody can hear you, especially when I do it in my Zoom meetings. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna take a deep breath in and blow it out. It's been a bit of a stressful time the last few months, so I've been working on my Summer of Magic 2019, honoring the old gods, Aphrodite for you, and so many other things. And yeah, I just realized a few days ago, today's the full moon. So actually, to me, I think it's a good thing this time around, because so far nothing's going wrong, nothing's going crazy or any of that. And I have my crystal with me that helps keep me calm down. It is my Selenite Wand. I know I showed you guys this one last year, but I just use it to get rid of my crappy energy, if you will. And that, and go like that. And then bring some good energy in and down. And then breathe. Alrighty. Oh, we got 6 people in here. So let's see. Things have been changing on me. I already wrote sounds great. Oh, there. No, I didn't see it, but good. Okay. So I'm going to turn this down. And I got a remote. Look at that. I was almost thinking they shouldn't give me remotes for things because I lose them, but I put it away in a purse. There. There, that'll be nice and low. All righty. I'm going to get this started. So, as some of you may know, I am Pamela Jones. I am an energy medium and an angelic healer, a radio show host of Energetically Speaking with Pamela Jones on Blog Talk Radio. And first and foremost, though, I am a mom to 6 great kids, even though some days they don't feel like it, but we have teenagers in the house now, so I know people can relate to that. And I am a grandma, believe it or not, to 7. Well, no, wait, 8, because we just had another baby in January. So I can't believe there's 8 kids. I'm not old enough for this, okay? I've been working in this field of all things energy for nearly a decade, actually, now. And it's always changing. I'm always changing. I'm always learning something new and how to change my energy and help people shift their energy. So I'm also known online as Oceana Power, as a quantum touch healer, certified in Reiki and whole body relaxation massage. Try and say that fast. And I've got, of course, many other certifications in energy work that, just like, so many others now, the list is like this long that I don't even include them all. But I magically transform your energy from negative to positive, and I do that through my upbeat energy. And today I know I'm just kind of bringing it down today because I've been up here, down here, and I'm just finding a happy medium here. And I use divination tools such as mediumship, energy readings, and tarot and oracle cards. I help people to realize they aren't the only ones going through situations and, or a crisis. And I assist them to help themselves to get through this with the tools that I provide with them, and we work together. And I know that, there's times in our lives that are challenging, so I provide readings and again, counseling with that too. I mean, we all know that tarot is so much more than just, pictures on a piece of cardboard. They are great for counseling. And people that come to me are those who are ready to change and have a desire to act on helping themselves to move forward and gain a greater knowledge in self-growth and not to stay stuck in their current situations. So, and I wanted to tell you actually, right now, my current programs are sistership circles, tarot and oracle readings, and energy readings. And also I have some psychic fun with Pam workshops coming up. And instead of doing a 6-week series, I'm just going to do the workshops over the summer. And that, so that I could take off when I want to. And that, because, summertime is to be free, right? So I will plan probably one or two anyways during the summertime for sure. So I got my start in the metaphysical field between 8 and 10 years ago. And that by learning reflexology, massage, aromatherapy, and Reiki, kind of by accident, as one thing led to another, as when you get interested in something. I actually was looking for natural remedies for my kids and some answers to help my kids, friends, and family. Then I moved on to learning about energy and how to move it, as some really cool stuff was going on between me and my clients. So it was a natural progression to learn more about angels, mediumship, and tarot. And since then, I've been helping people feel better about themselves ever since. I help people transform their energy and emotions from negative to positive. So today, I want to share with you the Goddess Aphrodite, some tools and techniques and activities, and of course, a story. I've always got a story, as you may know. I've had some major stuff go on in the last few months since Christina had asked, February, she opened this up and asked if, we wanted to be part of the Summer of Magic again. And of course I said yes, and it was February. And yeah, I will get into that some more. First though, I'm going to tell you the background of Aphrodite, which is Greek mythology. And in Roman mythology, she's called Venus. And Aphrodite is the Greek female goddess of love, marriage, beauty, pleasure, fertility, which is procreation too, and sexuality, and also everlasting youth. And she conjures up desire in the gods and humans as well as animals. She is also, I'm sorry, I'm reading off to the side here so I don't lose track. She's also associated with the death and the rebirth process, which I'm going to tell you a really good story about for me anyways in a little bit here. She's also a member of 12 Olympian gods, and she is usually represented as a young, beautiful woman, gracefully dressed. So if you can just imagine, somebody, I always think of her like with sheer kind of clothing on and her belt or girdle, her hair up in curls, things like that. That's my imagination, using my imagination and focusing on beauty, because I don't know, I like curly hair, I guess, too. Aphrodite's name means foam born, and the legend says that she sprang from her father Uranus's castrated genitals, believe this or not, okay, which were cast into the ocean. Aphrodite represents female sexual energy, and Aphro actually in Greek means foam, and the ity part means made of or from. And she was born in the waters of Paphos on the island of Cyprus. And actually, did you know that prostitutes actually considered Aphrodite their goddess of love? I'm like, okay, I think I've heard this one before. But yeah, that is pretty cool. Hi, Wendy. Yes, I love selenite too. It actually is really calming. I didn't actually believe that the crystals really worked until I did the 2018 workshop here. And I had it in my hand the whole time. And about 12 minutes into the workshop, I realized I went from way up here until way down, like not low, but it brought me down so fast. So I'm always hanging on to this thing when I'm doing workshops. All right. So we see Kimberly, Wendy. I see we've got 8 people here. That's cool. I am so happy you guys are all here. I really am. Yesterday was kind of a trying day. It was Father's Day, and I was like, like that, and worrying that this was going to take off and I was doing this right or whatever. That no, I've done enough of these before. I'm good. So I'm glad you guys have shown up. Oops, hold on just a second. I just need to. There we go. All right. So symbols. Her colors actually are pink, red, and blue. Pink and red are, of course, for love. And the blue and actually pale green too is because of the oceans, and her rising up. from the ocean, as you know, think of sea foam green. That's it. It's funny because I've been thinking a lot about that color lately. Now I know why. And rose quartz is her crystal. And of course, because rose quartz is the crystal for love and also calmness too. Oh, I wanted to show you. And it's really funny because I was looking around for something last week while I was doing a circle, and I found my bag, and it was, of course, hiding behind something on my table. And in it were all of my rose quartz ones. So my rose quartz wand. And then I found my bracelet that I was wondering where it was. And what else have I got in here? I got lots of stuff in just this one. I keep collecting crystals. Oh, and I've got my pendulum, my quartz pendulum. Oh, look, it matches my skin. I never realized that. So yeah, I've got that, and I've got some little quartz in there too. I actually even have a quartz fountain that has lots of rocks in there. I should use that one of these days again too. It's kind of like on an altar in the living room there. And let's see. Oh, this one here. I did not know this. Did you know that the symbol, you know, usually you see them on the bathroom doors now, but I know when I was a kid, you used to see the male and the female symbols. Well, did you know that the female symbol is actually for Aphrodite? That the circle, the top part of it is the circle, and that represents the mirror. And then the cross below it is actually representing the handle of the mirror. And the mirror, the circle also is representative as Venus, the planet Venus, but also Venus, the Roman name for her. I thought that was really interesting. So now every time I go to the bathroom in public, I'm going to be thinking about Aphrodite when I see that symbol. Let's see. Now another one, okay, is the mirror, and that actually represents self-image or outer beauty. And I like to think of it as the mirror and the self-image, right, reflecting back at you, because, you know, like they say beauty is only skin deep, but I like to think of it that when you're doing mirror work or mirror love, like I like to call it, you are actually reflecting back to yourself, you know, what you show to the world, the inner beauty. Like, I hope that makes sense for you, but I've got a little thing for you later too, a little activity. Let's see, now girdle. That one I thought was really cool. She had a girdle that contained enchantments, which is the special powers, you know, was held in her girdle that she used to attract people to her, attract love to her, and sensuality. Okay, if you ever go looking up and try to research Aphrodite, oh my God, there are so many like myths and stories and all that out there, and there are so many different twists on them too, that I was trying to make sense of them from the ones that I had heard. And so the girdle, though, it always kind of reminds me of Wonder Woman too, but hers was for different special powers. But the girdle it's important to not only for lovers, but I think to send out the powers of yourself, like your inner self-love, you know, and not your ego, just the love that you have for yourself, which radiates out to the world, and you attract self, you know, love back to you. You know, it's like a circular motion. I think that really cool. Scallop seashell. That was another one. That one is because she transformed, I think they got this name right, Nereides into a shell when he refused advances from her. I never knew that. I thought it was for other reasons. And then there's the golden apple, which she won a contest for being the fairest. And then let's see, the dolphin for playfulness, and they're also social animals. So Aphrodite loves social, you know, being around people, with, you know, being not necessarily just advances or whatever too, with, you know, the men and the other gods. But it's, again, another circular thing. And then the rose. To me, the rose actually is because of perfume, you know, the smell and to attract people. And then, of course, for the love and the beauty of the roses. And the pomegranate. Now, that is actually a symbol for beauty, love, marriage, fertility, and happiness, prosperity, and eternity. So the pomegranate covers like everything she stands for, is the way I see that one. And then the swan. She rode apparently in a swan-drawn chariot to travel through the air. I think that's really cool, actually. And then another animal is the dove. It's her sacred animal because it represents peace, year-round peace, okay? And that, to me, it almost reminded me of like the Bible. Maybe the Bible took it from her. I don't know. I don't have a lot of religious background. And that's only some things that I've been learning over the years. But I think it's similar because it represents, the peace, and this is year-round peace, like, and also with everything and anything. So I think, bringing the dove out would influence peace and harmony. And also the essential oil is jasmine. And oh boy, she's got a big family. I was getting so confused on that. Wonder Woman. Yes, Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. Yes, she was in a lot of different stories. No wonder, though, for the last 2 days, I have actually changed my workshop about 3 times in the last 2-3 months. I had actually signed up in February, and I was thinking February, Cupids, love, and all that stuff. But the more I've been reading about it, her stories and the myths and that, it keeps evolving from what I've been going through in the last few months. And it's just like, yeah, this was meant for me to do. So I'm going to tell you about her family just a little bit because, oh my God, there's like so many people in her family. Hi, Mario. Hi, Paula. Glad you could make it. Okay, so Aphrodite's family. She possibly had 16 children. I did start to write them down. And you'll just get even more confused. But she possibly had 16 children. She had one, his name was Eros, who is actually Cupid. And his father is actually Aries. And then she had, I think it's Phobes, and then Deimos, Harmonia, Pothas, Anteros, Himeris, and then get this one, Hermaphroditus. I think I said that right. I'm not sure. But her parents were either in one mythology, it's Uranus is her father, or in other mythologies, it is Zeus and Dion. I think it's Dion. I think it all depends on how you want to say these names too. And from what movies you've read or watched, and books you've read and that too. So now, lovers, you got to get this, okay? No wonder she's the goddess of love. She had Hephaestus, Aries, Poseidon, Hermes, Dionysus, Adonis, and Anchises. And I tried to say that one thinking about anchovies. I don't know, maybe that's where the anchovies came from. And then siblings. Now, since Aphrodite was one of the daughters of Zeus, because he had so many affairs, she had so many half siblings. So she had Hephaestus, Aries, Athena, Artemis, Apollo, Hermes, Dionysus, and Persephone were all her half siblings, and she didn't have any direct siblings. So if that makes sense to you, because like I said, it depends on where you're getting the mythology from. I came across so much stuff, but her family was busy, okay? And that. Hi, Marissa. Hi, Christina. Oh boy. So she actually was married to Hephaestus, and a lot of the gods were in love with Aphrodite, but her father Zeus he didn't want battles. He was afraid battles were going to happen, with all the other gods over her. So he actually arranged a marriage to Hephaestus, who wasn't very good looking or strong apparently. But Aphrodite wasn't faithful and had affairs with other gods. Like I said, there's Ares, Poseidon, Hermes, and Dionysus. And then there was mortals, Adonis and Anchises, or whatever. I can't even say that. Anchises. We're going with that one. Oh my God. Hi, Latanya. Danny. Yes, hi, Danny. And okay, the best part that I like though about all of this, besides her being the representative for, sexuality and love, marriage, and beauty, all those things that we first think of her, is what her special powers and her skills were. Now, she was immortal just like all the other gods and goddesses, and her special powers were love and desire. And she had a girdle, that belt that I told you about, that made people fall in love with her or the wearer. It didn't always work out if somebody had her belt, okay? There's more stories on that too. She had it, somebody borrowed it on her and things didn't work out well. That's what I've gotten, okay? Like they said, there are so many stories out there, but I had fun reading them and trying to make a mental map in my mind, and I was trying to make a mental map and I had to write it out. So I'm writing up a chart up here of who her family was, because I need a scorecard. I really need a scorecard with this one. But her girdle, like I said, she would have it on and she could draw people to her. They would fall in love with her. And I think she sent out the power of love though too. She also spread love, even though like some of the stuff I'm going, oh my God, this woman was busy with all these lovers. She really was. Okay, I've got a couple of stories for you. One was the golden apple. Oh wait, sorry. The golden apple. Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena were the top 3 contenders for a gold apple mark for the fairest. They asked Zeus to judge the contest, but he refused. So he got Paris, who is the son of the king of Troy, and he judged the contest instead. Each of these 3 goddesses promised him something in return, but he chose Aphrodite as the winner of the apple. So this story of the judgment of Paris was considered to be the real reason behind the Trojan War. During the Trojan War, Aphrodite fought on the side of Paris, and Aphrodite rescued Paris from Menelaus. Got that. Really, I should take a Greek class in school, and then I'd be able to say it. Yes, Christina, I think Greek. You know what? And I actually stayed away from it this weekend while I was trying to rearrange all this one. I need a scorecard. I really was going to get a scorecard out for this. I thought my family was big, and not all of them are married or with somebody yet. And I'm trying to keep track of children and grandchildren. Hi, Freya. And hi, Tanya. Boy. So anyways, Aphrodite rescued Paris from Menelaus by enveloping him in a cloud and taking him back to Troy. Aphrodite owned a girdle also that contained her enchantments. So I told you about that. But Hera borrowed it once to seduce Zeus in order to distract him from the Trojan War. So these are little bits and pieces, because these stories, I'm just giving you the short version, the breakdown, because like I said, there are so many stories. They were really interesting. And now I can understand why a lot of this stuff, this mythology, is in the kids' video games. My kids know more about it than I do, especially my oldest one, and I think one of my twins. It just blows my mind because I can't keep track of it because there aren't facts in there. So this has been really interesting to do. It's been a little bit harder too than the other workshops I've done, I'm going to be honest with you. Oh, Desi, if you ever have an opportunity to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you'll learn the pronunciations fast. You know what? I think I've actually heard of that one. Menelaus, Freya said. Okay, well, I thought I was close. So you guys probably know more about this than I do. But I do have a point to this. I really do today. Like I said, this workshop has changed over the last 3 months, and it's remarkable. And the more that I did and more I thought about things, even the last few days, this workshop was for me. I hope you are getting something out of this, and I hope I'm not confusing the heck out of you, but it is making sense to me. I'm not. So I'm going to actually read you this story because it is better the way I found it. Hi, Leonie, I'm glad you're back. Okay, so she's actually, like I said earlier, Aphrodite is also known or related to death and rebirth. And I think it's what it translates to, the death and renewal of relationships. And some of you know what's been going on the last few months with me in the past, actually couple of years. So this part really made sense. And I just found this actually this morning, so I've thrown it into here now. So I'm going to read it off my paper here. It's a lot easier. So, most notably among mortals was Adonis, a mortal god of beauty and desire who was loved by the goddess Aphrodite. He was a god of ever-cycling rebirth, and his cycle was annual, in which he lived, died, and was reborn, and therefore never aged. When Adonis was born for the first time, he was taken in by Aphrodite, who became so obsessed with him when he reached boyhood that she began neglecting her duties of being a goddess. Therefore, she had given him to Persephone in the underworld to be taken care of and hidden from the rest of the goddesses and women. Now, Persephone, however, she fell in love with Adonis and refused to give him back when Aphrodite came for him. Then their quarrel became so fierce that Zeus had to intervene and find a compromise. Afterwards, Adonis was set to spend 4 months with Persephone and 4 months with Aphrodite, and for the rest of the months he was free from clasps of the goddesses. One day when Adonis was spending his time in Aphrodite's care, he went into a forest where he was killed by Ares, who had transformed himself into a wild boar and out of jealousy pierced Adonis with his tusks. Then Adonis then passed into the realm of the dead, where Persephone welcomed him with open arms. But Aphrodite went after him, and another heated quarrel began between the goddesses over who has the right possession over him in this case. Zeus once again had to intervene, and after a long patient period, they agreed that he would spend half a year with Aphrodite excuse me, and half a year with Persephone. So now the way I see this, that how Aphrodite relates to rebirth and renewal in relationships, it's the rebirth of her relationship with Adonis as it was constantly changing. Not only to say about all these other relationships that she was having with people. So she was already or always renewing herself, transforming herself, and I think she was also finding a new role. So I think that all has to do with Aphrodite. And love always takes on, I want to say a new role, but it's always changing. And yeah, like it's a constant change. It's not always the same, unless it's like between a mother and a child, that even then it can change. The child back there too. That's okay, Kimberly. Thanks, Kimberly. Yeah, like nothing is, sometimes it is solid, I would say. Like unless you've got, like a husband and wife that are rock solid, but I mean, something can always come up in between it. But to me, love is always, it's fluid. It's always changing, just like our emotions, just like our energy in that. And we're always changing. We're always changing our roles in life. And recently I've changed mine yet again. But I want to give you some examples though of this rebirth. And I thought this was so cool because it was where I was headed to. So examples of rebirth would be self-loathing or anger and dissolving it into self-love or self-discovery. Okay, that's a big thing. And we're always, I think, evolving. Once we, awaken, we're always doing self-discovery. We're changing. We see something differently. And then there's stress. So shifting energy from always being in stress mode to taking care of yourself. And I was realizing this probably Saturday or Sunday when I was trying to figure out how I was going to present this workshop. And I just realized my stress level was going up and up. No, you've got this. You can rock this. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care. All right, I'm not even going to worry about it because I've done a few of these now. I'm comfortable in front of the camera. But I realized I am in constant stress mode that I need to back off and, get back to myself, where I was planning that back in February. Another thing is people dying. Okay, this is a big one. People dying in their physical body. There's a rebirth. A lot of us, not everybody, but I think probably a lot of people in this workshop anyways, in Christina's groups and that, people dying in their physical body, it's only their physical body. You actually, what I believe now is that you actually are reborn, and I don't mean like the Jesus Christ, the whole religious thing. I think that it's your physical body, you're shedding your physical body, and your energy, your personality, all of that stuff goes over to the other side. I so learned what the other side of the veil meant this past February that it was wild. It just brought clarity to the dying process and the rebirth and being in a new energy. Another one is relationships, okay? Renewing between lovers or family members. You can have, you can be on the outs with members of your family, whether they're, your spouse, your kids, your parents, any of that stuff. And they're always, to me, like, you have that out. And then when I know this was hard for me to do, but my father and I used to be on the outs every so often. But I would just pick up the phone and we would carry on like nothing happened. So it was like a rebirth of the relationship that was between me and my dad. And me, actually, my ex-husband, to tell you the truth, too. Even, like when we were living together, we would just, skim over stuff or whatever and start again, start talking again. Not always, but a lot of the times. Here's another good one. How about rebirth of new crops? Okay, think about that. The summer season, the plant or the seeds are in the ground, they grow to be plants. In the fall we harvest, and then that season's over. We go through winter, everything shuts down, and then spring comes around again and the cycle starts over again. I thought that was really cool when I seen something about plants and seeds and all that. And oh yeah, that makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. Here's a good one. Think of the sun going down and then the moon coming up, and then the next day the sun comes up again. We don't always think about that cycle, but it's a whole new day again, and it's a rebirth. You get a do-over. That's how some people look at it, as a do-over. Some people, look at it and they seize the day, and I'm trying to practice that one, and that instead of thinking, it's just another day or whatever. But really, we take it for granted. The other one is, of course, the phases of the moon itself, right? And today is a full moon. I did not plan this. I realized this a couple of days ago that my workshop was on the full moon. And today my plan is nothing's going wrong. I'm just going to go with it. But it's a rebirth, right? And it's the cycles of, the new moon, the full moon, quarter moons, all of that stuff. You guys know more about those cycles than I do. I'm just paying more attention to this stuff. I'm worried what is the full moon, and everybody stay home because I don't want them to have an accident or be part of the hospital or the police. They finally clue in too that full moons is when everything happens. So there's no coincidences. I didn't plan this to be on today's full moon, but I thought it was pretty awesome. So there's that. And then I want to quickly tell you my story. Well, maybe it's not so quick. You guys know me. I start telling my story. Okay. My personal story, especially this past year, is that sometimes it takes an illness or a major event to get us to slow down, wake up, and pay attention. And that's where I was this past February, just before another stone cold reality was about to hit me. In December 2018, some of you know that I was having problems with my gallbladder and that about a year and a half ago, which led to back problems and stuff, which are actually getting better, by the way. I realized that I was sicker than I was, and I was getting brain fog and everything over the summer, and I thought it was the heat, all the fires here in BC, and I think some in Alberta and that too, and even coming up from California, I think we were getting some of their smoke too. I thought because we weren't seeing the sun and we had so much smoke that my energy level was, low. But by November, December, I realized that wasn't around anymore. No matter how much vitamin D I took and everything to fix my gallbladder, it wasn't happening. So in December, I realized I needed to get help, and it was time to do the gallbladder surgery. Nothing was helping. The doctor was right. None of the concoctions that you take. And no, I did not take the oil and the apple cider vinegar. There was no way I was doing that one. You were going to make yourself worse if you do. And so I was really lethargic in that. And yeah, I realized I need to phone the doctor. Meanwhile, they were phoning me at the same time as I was getting ready to find the phone number. And I said, yes, I want to do the gallbladder surgery, even though I'm scared. So because I had waited and put it off, and it's Christmas time, the doctor was going to be away for a couple of months, so I had to wait till February. But I was doing it, and then, of course, I was psyching myself up, and I was trying not to. So I told my dad that I was going to break down and have the surgery so I could get better, so I could take care of me, take care of him, and take care of my two that are still at home. Because everybody was relying on me, but I wasn't doing what I needed to take care of me. And unfortunately, it was surgery, and I'd never had surgery, so you can imagine how scared I was. But I did it, and I had the surgery, and no lie, as soon as I woke up, and no, it wasn't the drugs that kicked in later, but literally, as soon as the nurse woke me up and asked me how I felt, I told her, I said, actually, I feel awesome. Like, wow. On that. So that was great. Like, I was flying high. Some of you probably saw my post in that. And then, no, we still haven't done drunk tarot yet. I wanted to give my body some time to get better. But yeah, so I did the surgery, and I was then asked by Christina around about that time if, I wanted to come back and do the workshops, because she was going to do another Summer of Magic ones. I said, of course I am. Sure, I'd love to. On that. So then I decided on a goddess. Like, I don't know much about goddesses and like the Greek mythology or any of that stuff, or video games. I try to stay away from those things, but I thought, no, I'm game. I was looking for a way, needless to say, because it was February, and of course Valentine's stuff was all around, but I knew that I needed to get back to myself, not only with the surgery and taking care of myself. That was physical, but I needed to take care, up here and in my heart, because I was so angry all the time. I was so worn out, so tired, didn't want to talk to anybody, didn't want to deal with my children. I realized some days. Yeah, I'm getting a dirty look. Nothing. But I was looking for a way to do that. And I was trying to remember, how the heck did I do that a few years ago when I just dropped everything? And I don't know, I dropped some attitudes, I dropped some feelings and that. So this workshop has been really good for me to find my way back. Best way to describe it, to find my way back. I'm still working on it. I'm still angry about some things because of the stuff that happened. So this wasn't a coincidence. And I really thought somebody had already chosen. I mean, it was so obvious in February. Venus, Cupid, Aphrodite, all that stuff. But nobody had chosen it. So I thought, well, this is cool. I get to have my pick. So obviously it wasn't a coincidence. And I let my gallbladder go at the beginning of February. I was so psyched up a couple days beforehand, but I finally actually started talking to my body. And that by just sitting still and listening and using the tools that I've been learning, and different ways to use them, different ways to use words and that. And I just told my body that thank you, and thank you. And my gallbladder said, thank you. You've done your job. I'm sorry I have to let you go, but we've got a part, and I had a conversation, and it was in my head, but, kind of by myself in my room and that. And it didn't feel weird either. Okay. But it helped. And I just kept talking myself into doing that surgery. And I told myself that I was moving. I was going to be moving that stuck energy, because actually the gallbladder and what was it, the liver, I think, I can't remember now which one. I know it's the gallbladder that holds the anger. And most of my life I've been angry. I was raised angry. It was an angry household. So that's why I was trying to get back to that place that I found a few years ago. And I've been working on that. Things have been lightening up, but I don't know. I mean, they say it's because I'm white, I'm female, and I had children. That's why the gallbladder, it just does its thing. Turns out I was right. My gallbladder was worse than it was that showed up on the screen, and that's why I felt better when they took it out. But I let go of that. I've been letting go of the anger, and I'm trying to, like, because you've made a space in your body, or I've made a space in my body. So I've moved that energy out, and you know that when you clear something, you need to put back in love. Like, you know, when you clear your energies or cut cords, especially like cutting the cords. When you cut the cords to another person or an idea, an object, a place, whatever it might be, you need to fill that hole back up with something else. Like, so usually, you know, the idea is to fill it back up with love, you know, with positive energy in that too. So that's what I was doing. So it was great. I was flying high for a few days, and of course, probably the drugs anyways too I was on. But I thanked it, and I've been getting better physically too. But like I said, this is not the workshop that I had originally planned. It was about self-love, and I'm going to give you some tools to get you on the right track, and ones that I've been doing, and some that I've been remembering, and a couple of new ones, and that, because at the end of February, I had to put my father into the hospital. He wasn't doing so good, and it was the reason I was trying to get myself better so I could get back up onto my game. And the time that we did have left, because we found out a year ago that he had skin cancer, and the doctor wasn't going to treat him, and told him, well, we know that you want to die at home, so now we know what you're doing. So I've been trying to do the best I can and playing all kinds of roles. I've been mom, caretaker, banker, driver, you name it, right? I mean, mothers, we do that. But when you've got somebody, which my aunt told me it was a gift that she did this with my grandmother a few years ago. So I'm looking at it as a gift and the opportunity that I got to look after my dad. So now I'm trying to change roles, and this is what all of this, okay, is meaning to me. This is what the Aphrodite, you know, myths mean to me. It is the death and the rebirth and the renewal of relationships, you know, and like I said, plants and all of those things. And no, I'm not going to cry. I did bring tissues, so I'm not going to go into all that stuff or whatever, because I'm still sorting through a lot of stuff. Yesterday was Father's Day. It wasn't hard because I focused on this workshop instead. And then I took a break, and I made my dad's favorite meal, wonton soup by scratch, of course, so you know. And we went for ice cream. And that I needed to take a break. And I haven't been spending much time. I've been spending a lot of time processing things, and a lot of it has been the roles and the rebirth and that. So I've got some things that I wanted to give you, like some suggestions and activities. One, get back to the hobby that you enjoy. Mine was sewing and embroidery and making soaps and lotions, and I was pulling up some recipes because I do have a freebie gift for you, and I'll tell you a bit about that later. So get back to those things that, you know, get you excited and just, you know, light you up. Okay, that is one thing that raises your vibration, gets you going, gets you revved up, gets you happy, and it pulls you from like a negative mood into a positive, happy one. Oh, and another one, stop being so busy. Okay, none of it matters in the end. Nobody, like, I told my mom this, and I've told my boyfriend this. When they've retired, I told them, I said, all that busyness, all that flack that you took from the jobs, nobody remembers, but they know to call you to, you know, when they need something. But none of these things matter. It's just to get a paycheck, to move papers around, to stress you out. None of it matters. None of it matters in the end. Relationships matter. Yeah, they're hard. They're as hard as we make them. And I am so guilty of that, especially right now, because I haven't wanted anyone to be around me for the last 3 months. It's like, just get away from me. But I'm trying to, the last few days, probably because maybe this new moon, there was all kinds of energies last week where I was shifting into the next phases. And now, like I said, we're into the full moon. And that, so work in progress, right? We're a work in progress. And so if you stop, you're going to burn out. And I've been there before. I really have, with my older 4 kids. Oh man, did I burn out. 4 kids within 4 years and going. And then the last 7 years, I've been looking after my stepmom, who found out she had cancer. My dad had eye surgeries at the same time. And then she passed away 5.5 years ago. I don't even know where the time has gone, because time, there really isn't, what do they call it? It's linear. Like, there isn't really anything such thing as time, you know, like man's invention is the clocks. Then my dad was still okay to, you know, do things on his own and be dad. And then he, about 3 years ago, he started getting slower and sicker and all that. Matter. Okay. This is, this is my big point when I talk to people. Who gives a shit about all that other stuff out there? Just, it's time to be happy. Okay. I mean, it's sunny on this on our half of the hemisphere. Okay. It's sunny. It's going to be hotter than hell. It already has been here, but the sun, the brightness and everything else, take advantage of it. Normally you guys see my wall behind me and it's yellow. It looks awful on the computer, but it actually is a really nice corncob yellow color. And I do that just to brighten my mood and that too. So after a life event, crisis, anything heavy that makes you feel heavy, or you put, you put yourself last because you're feeling heavy all the time, it's time to put yourself first for a while. Yes, it's great to be out there being stewards and helping other people, but don't forget to help yourself first. Fill up that tank, okay? There's the renewal process. Fill yourself up first. I thought people were nuts when they used to tell me that when my boys were little. Because when you have kids, they come first. Oh, nothing else matters. Believe me. Food, feeding time, screaming, everything else. At the end of the day, like, hey, it's 8 o'clock already. Where did the day go? So now I get to focus back on me. This is my new role. It's time for me first, so I can fill up and take care of these teenagers. I know they're going to see this later. My daughter was already in and out a few minutes ago, but oh my God, teenagers. See, life, birth, renewal, all that. Babies, children, preteens, teenagers, and then adults. I know I want to kill them most days, but because I've been through this before with my 4 older kids, I know it'll get better. I didn't know that before with the older ones, though, because I just wanted to throttle them. I am patiently getting through 2 more teenagers right now. So rebirth, and then I'm sure we will have a great relationship like my older kids and I do now. I've been really learning these lessons, all these things that I've been telling you. Like I said, I started this out saying because of an illness, okay, or a major event. That's a life event. We can't avoid them. We can't stop them. But we have events happen over and over in our life. And to me, they're renewals because you learned a lesson. You may not have learned all the lessons, which we usually don't, because there's always another perspective. There's always another way to see it. So we have lessons repeated to us. Usually mine are within the same people, or the same thing, maybe even my vehicle or whatever, something's getting worn out on it or whatever. So I got to redo something. But with people, there's always something new to learn about each other, about yourself. So there's so many renewal processes. When I was sitting down writing that part yesterday, I thought, oh, wow, there's an epiphany. And I had an epiphany actually the other day because my teenage daughter, she's 15. Oh my God, Then I started realizing actually what I was like. Well, okay, we will just endure this mouth of hers. But it's the attraction. So I was thinking about that girdle. Remember the, Aphrodite's girdle? That I need to spend time with her, even though I really don't want to. I mean, and that's awful to say, I'm her mother. But we don't want to, just like the husband and wife, okay? Like the renewing, Aphrodite is good at renewing relationships with, husbands and wives, people that have been fighting and all that. Well, me and my daughter too. I don't understand her. She doesn't understand me. We got to work through it, right? So those of you who have kids, or got teenagers around you, these are just, one of my examples. I have to, bite my tongue and smile and try not to have this snotty sound in my voice like I have lately because I'm just done. But I have to turn that around because like attracts like, right? Love attracts love. So it's a process. It's going to take a while. She finally said, she wants attention. I'm like, yeah, you need attention. I've been in myself and that. So it's time to take the blinders off and get out there and be nice to her. Start there. It's a two-way street. Dad always said it's a two-way street. I was pretty mean to him when I was a teenager too. My God, he lived through me. So what else did I want to tell you? Okay, your self-talk. Okay, is another activity. We know we should be doing it. Talking nicer to ourselves. Turn those negative things around into a positive. Write them out. Write them out. Everything that is going on in your head, write them out, and then make a column beside it. Sorry, or take out another piece of paper and turn it into a positive sentence. Turn it around. I don't like this. Any of the don'ts, can'ts, all those negative things. Turn that sentence around. I've been doing a lot of those in the last probably a couple months that I've been coming out of this stupor after my dad has passed away. It still hasn't totally sank in yet. It's been a process. So I don't know, maybe some of you have had parents that have passed away and that too, but it's different. I mean, I've had friends passed away. It's different when it's your parent, your biological parent. My father and I were inseparable when I was a kid, from the get-go. And kind of almost reminds me of the Adonis story in a way that it was almost like an Oedipus thing. One of the things that I read, no, my dad and I weren't like that, but we were inseparable. What else do I want to say? Remove yourself from the toxic situations, right? Like there's so many things that we know, we read these things, somebody tells us to, but we have to put these into practice. And this comes up a lot of these things that I'm talking about come up in different talks that I have, or when I've had the radio show and that we have to do them. We have to actually experience them. We have to make a point of doing them, not just, reading it and running it through our head, but we have to practice that self-talk, the toxic situations and people. Stop hanging around the people that don't make you feel good. If you notice that all you do is complain when you're with somebody, back off for a while. Doesn't mean that you have to get rid of the friend, or the coworkers. You can't necessarily, just quit a job and go to another one, but just back off for a bit and see, okay, how about if we change it this way? Even just yourself, practice something, do an experiment, take a bit of a break. And when you come back to that friend, then watch how the conversation goes and steer it to something positive instead of complaining about something. I'm guilty of it too. I'll tell you, especially in the last few months, that's all I've been doing. I've been stomping my feet a lot. I've been dealing with probate, and I've got 2 houses to deal with, one that I'm in and my father's house right now. So I have not been in a good mood, and my girlfriend, her husband passed, some of you know, 10 days after my dad did. And yeah, it's been a battle. It's been a mental challenge too, an emotional challenge, which I haven't worked through a lot of this stuff, of course. And I think it's going to happen probably the rest of my life from what I understand. And that's what I foresee. Tomorrow's going to be another day. Today's a different day. So do that with the relationships, do that with the friendships and that, turn them around, unless you realize those people aren't good for you, no matter what, they don't want to change. But if they value the friendship and you value the friendship, try something different. Let's see. Oh, here, this one I love. I was thinking about this the other day, just the word permission. Give yourself permission to do things, okay? And to love yourself. It's not something that I grew up with. I mean, some things I did. My dad told me to drive every vehicle I could get my hands on to learn how to drive everything. My dad also owned a lot of vehicles too. And now I do too, apparently. The word permission, okay? It's such a big word. It changes things. There are so many words in the English language, probably in all the languages, that if we use them in a different way, it's really interesting. There's so much you can do, so many experiments you can do. So I wrote this little thing for you. We never think, of permission as a good word. I always think of it as permission slips from the principal's office. But I'm going to read this to you, and I'll write it out for you guys if you're interested in it. What I did the other day was I gave myself permission. I gave myself permission to love myself, to be myself, and just be. So this is what I wrote out. I, Pamela Jones, give myself, Pamela Jones, permission to just be, to love myself wholeheartedly and unconditionally, no matter what I have done or said previously to myself or others. I give myself, Pamela Jones, permission, and in capitals, to love and forgive myself for any and all situations I have been in and that I need to forgive myself for. And so it is. And I will write that out if you guys are interested. I was going to put that in with my freebie, and I just found it in there again. So, yeah, I've had to get through, like I said, a lot of anger. And the bottom line is bringing love into your life is permission. Permission. You're allowed to do things. You are allowed to put the walls of your heart down. You are allowed to put your guard down. You're good. Like, it's not only society, but I watch a lot of TV lately, I think, too, now that we got cable, but everything around us is so negative. There's rules for this and there's rules for that. And actually, now that I just said that, was probably another one of the things that I wanted to tell you about. Every time my kids ask to do something, I have to tell them, no, you're not allowed to. There's a law for that. There's a law for this. There's a rule for that. So when in my four walls, even though they walk all over me because I've been letting them in a way, but it's like I want them to be kids without so many rules. I mean, of course you have rules at home, and I really haven't been enforcing them the last probably a few months, a year at least anyways. And normally I'm the opposite, like do this, do that, be here, be then, and we're doing this whatever time. But the bottom line is give yourself permission and allow, okay? Allowing yourself to receive love, okay? That's a big one, okay? Receive and give love, because if you allow yourself to receive love, you can give it back out. So it's all an exchange, okay? The rebirth, death and rebirthing and renewal. And it's actually not a bad four-letter word I've learned. I know all the other ones, but then I had to learn the LOVE one there too. So doing this really takes courage. Permission makes room to allow. You exchange the heaviness in your heart, your body, your organs, your mind, okay, to allow room for the lightness, okay? So you're exchanging that. And yeah, like I said, I forgot how I got there. So I'm on a journey again, and I wasn't looking forward to this, but actually now I am. That the energies have shifted in the past week. So I know I've been sounding like a mom, right? Telling what you shouldn't be doing, but hey, wait, maybe that's a good thing. I've been trying to shift the roles. Like I said, my roles have been shifting, and I'm trying to find my identity again. And we've got the loss of a family member, so I've got to rearrange, like he's not gone, but he's still here. My mom is still here too, but she's just another, 400 kilometers and 300 miles, whatever it is, and that away. So I'm shifting the energy. I'm shifting my role, my mind, my body, everything. I'm going to be shifting a lot of crap in my house too, because I got to clean this up and I got to move. So I wanted to tell you another one. mirror love, okay? I know if you, I call it mirror love. Stand in front of a mirror. I was going to do a video for this for you, and I may still do this because I figured, oh, well, I just know I'm authentic. I tell you all what's going on with me. And stand in front of the mirror and just go, hey, lady, or hey, guy, if you're a guy, of course. Just go, hey, lady, I love you. And it feels so silly at first, okay? Instead of just going, I love you in front of the mirror, okay? Or get the hand mirror, Aphrodite hand mirror, right? And just stand there. Laugh, do whatever, and just tell yourself, I love you, and you are the only you there is, okay? And tell yourself you're awesome. You can work up each day to these. Do it every day. And now I was doing this, and then I think when I hit 40, didn't want to look in the mirror anymore. But now I'm like, whatever, I don't care. So there you have it. I've talked to you about shifting energy. I've told you some stories, like I usually do. And yeah, so today you learned about the goddess Aphrodite and Venus. And I don't know if anybody's got any questions or anything like that. I see Marissa. She says that she has heard other people mention the mirror as a way of getting to know yourself better. Also more grace with that process. Yeah, it is. And yes, Kimberly, I saw that. Thank you. And Freya, I'm sorry I didn't get to say hi. And Lynn. Hi, Lynn. So if you guys have any questions, I will try and answer them best I can. I'm Marissa. I see the hearts. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'll just let it catch up and take a breath here for a second. Usually I know I'm usually like, oh, way up here, but I think this selenite, it really helped, that music. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see any questions. Okay. So, yes, I taught you about, well, tell you what I found out, and now I'm going to go read some more, and I think I'll go and check out that game too, because there's so many gods and there's so many interesting things that they stand for, and so many myths and really neat stories actually. And I guess it's time that I'm ready to learn about those things. You know, you go phases. I learned about witchcraft and tarot and reflexology, and you know, I did my years with learning about kids and that too. I'm always learning about kids and relationships and how they work. Those are the things that I like to watch and read about, like psychology stuff. So I think that's why I never really got into mythology, because it was to me the opposite. So I gave you some tools and activities. And so as a thank you for today for listening to my workshop, I'm going to give you a freebie, and I am going to post it in here. And it's the one I wanted to give you is not working yet at the moment, but I am going to add it. And I am just copying the link. This is for my landing page to sign up. And let's see. Did it go? I think it did. There it is. Okay. There's the link to my landing page, so you can sign up and get the freebie. Right now, I have a freebie in place because, like I said yesterday, I just had to go, stop. I'm not stressing about this. I'll do the best that I can. I know you guys will all understand. And I do have a recipe for you, an essential oil recipe for love. And it's actually my favorite one that I get a lot of compliments on. So I'm going to fix that up this afternoon, but just make sure you sign up on the list. And then I can tell you about my Psychic Fun with Pam classes. I'm going to do candle reading, tea leaf reading. I'm going to do some dream reading. That's 3 of them. Oh, I got about 5 or 6 anyways in there ready to go. But like I said earlier, I'm just going to do one workshop at a time because it's summertime. And then in the fall, I'm going to do it as a series. And then I can also tell you about my sistership circles and how I've learned so much doing those and learning to even more of come as I am and being myself. And it is just, it's a lot of fun. It's deep stuff, but it's not deep stuff. Nothing more than you can handle. So I'm going to be doing some circles. And yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Energetically Speaking with Pamela Jones. I had to make sure that I put my whole name in there because somebody else had a similar site. you guys all know how to get a hold of me, and you can message me, and I don't mind. So if you don't get the email, if it doesn't work properly for you, just private message me on Facebook. I don't mind at all. And I just want to say thank you all for showing up. This has been a real treat. It's been very therapeutic for me. I hope that I've helped somebody else. I hope I told you some things you didn't know about Aphrodite, and I learned a lot. And I especially want to thank Christina Quick for allowing me to do this again. I do have fun when I do these, and I always learn something more. Even though they're topics usually or energy things that I give to you guys, I learn something more about it, or in a different way every time. So thank you for allowing me to present in this year's Summer of Magic 2019 workshops. And I will see you guys on the other side if there are no questions. Oh, Tanya, when she was in therapy, she was taught to look in the mirror and tell myself I love myself. Yep, exactly. Mario, you're very welcome. And thank you guys for letting me share my story. And you guys know I have lots more. And oh, one more thing before I go. I know that my stuff all says about my radio show, and I'm just going to be honest with you. I had start dates so many times, but you guys know why now that I haven't started it yet. I will when I'm ready. I may after my birthday, because oh, I forgot to mention this one. The rebirth thing, zodiac signs, just before your birthday. My birthday's in, oh my God, 2 weeks. So that's why I've been feeling probably so much of a shift, besides all the energy stuff going on, that it's my rebirth time again at this time of year. Who knew, hey? Actually, I think I did the last couple of years. It always feels like a whole new year for me. So thank you very much. Thank you for coming and spending time with me today. And I will see you on the other side.